here with us from the Rochester Museum and Science Center. And I know many of you have been there probably, and if you haven't, it's a great place to go, and you'll hear a little bit more about it today. But I would like to introduce Ms. Schultes, who works at the museum, and she's going to talk about what makes a change maker, and then share a little bit about the exhibit and other stuff too. So I'm going to just let her take it away and stop talking, and I hope that you enjoy our school-wide assembly today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rio. Good morning, everyone. My name is Allison, and I am so honored to be here today. I was so impressed when your principal reached out to me to say that your school has committed to engaging in a day full of inspiring others. And I'm just really honored and excited to be here with you today. I've heard that you all have been studying Changemakers. I'm so excited to hear that. Have been studying about Black history and learning more about some of the hidden or the untold stories of Changemakers in our community. Thank you so much for inviting me today. And during our time together today, I want to try to accomplish in our short time, 3 main goals. The first, define what it means to be a change maker. The second, discover 4 more historical hidden stories that we have featured here at the museum. And third, I want to determine how we as a community can become change makers. And I'm going to share some tips and tricks with you about how some of the change makers we've met along the way have done that. And a special treat, I think we're going to be able to see a little sneak peek inside our exhibit this morning. I just want to make sure, do I have access to share my screen?
You should. So let me just make sure that that is working right now. Dr. McGowan, I might need you to do that for me, please.
That should be all set now.
Thank you.
All right, there we go. Great. So I have some slides and videos I'm going to share with you today and some images from our exhibit. Give me just a second. I'll get my presentation going here. All righty. Dr. Rio, can you confirm that you can see my slides for me?
Cannot see your slides right now.
Oh no. Let's try that again. Oh, probably helps if I hit share, huh? There we go. Alrighty, how about now?
Looks great, you're all set.
Alrighty, so we're gonna get started and we're gonna jump right in. And the stories of change makers I'm going to share with you all today have come from the Rochester Museum and Science Center's newest exhibit called The Changemakers, Rochester Women Who've Changed the World. And now, if you haven't been to the museum in a while, this exhibit will be here through the spring, so I hope you come and visit and check it out in real life. But I am going to play a quick video for you. Now, make sure your volume is up because the sound was going to be really energetic and the video is going to play really quick. So pay attention. And I'm excited for you all to see a sneak peek at the Changemakers. Do I have sound? No. Alrighty, hold on 1 second. I don't have sound on my video here. Let's try and scooch it up. Sorry about that. There we go. Now, if you haven't seen the exhibit, that promo video gives you a really great glimpse at some of the stories featured in our exhibit. The Changemakers exhibit here at the RMSC took us over 2 years to build and involved more than 20 staff members and 50 volunteers and community curators. This is also the biggest exhibit we have ever built, and it takes up almost our entire 3rd floor. What I love about this exhibit is that it celebrates some of the amazing women from across our community, which includes Rochester, the surrounding areas, towns, and neighborhoods, and the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, whose ancestral lands we now all live on, and whose women have been and continue to be change makers across our region. Now, there's over 200 women featured in our exhibit, which is a lot of women. And if you've done a research project lately, you probably know how long that took. Let's head inside the exhibit and see what some of our staff and visitors think while they explore the new space.
For me, I think a change maker is someone who faces challenges in their own lives and perhaps identifies them in other people's lives. And they go through a struggle, and it's really through that struggle and their persistence that they're able to set something in motion that creates change, it creates something new, and it ripples through time and space to affect people's lives for the better.
I like that the exhibition actually tells the story of local women. This is, to me, something that you don't expect to see in a museum, like the representation of local Rochesterian women there. That's very inspiring.
It's crazy to think how many inspiring women are connected right here in Rochester. I mean, we've heard of, Susan B. Anthony and Abby Wambach and maybe the Douglases, but other than that, there's so many more stories that are yet to be told, and I really love that this exhibit really is very diverse and tells everyone's story.
It is good, it's great, it's powerfully good. It's talking about all the women who changed the world.
The scope of this exhibit is very unique for us, and perhaps in the Rochester region. We're featuring over 200 changemakers. So it's very exciting to be able to feature both historic and contemporary women, as well as women from diverse backgrounds. So we're really able to tell stories that are lesser known and ones that you might not have even heard of before.
I'm inspired because I didn't know there were so many girls from Rochester that changed the world.
The greatest thing to me is that, some of these women, I know them personally, so that's very inspiring.
I feel like it's really cool because I know who these people are, and I can see their faces, wow, they actually made a difference, and I know these people.
One of the things that's been so wonderful about this process is getting to know a lot more about the featured change makers, and I've been amazed by how willing these women have been to share their life and work throughout the process. One of those examples is with Almita Whitus, who shared her story of her first time on stage with us, and it's just really an amazing story, and I'm so glad that I've gotten to hear it firsthand from her, and that we'll be able to present that in the exhibit.
There's lots of contemporaries in the exhibit, and to get to meet them and talk to them has been just really fun.
So I think it's really important for everyone to be able to see themselves represented so they have that opportunity. And I can already see that this is going to have a really big impact, especially in this year 2020 when we're already going through so much change.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely so you can look around and see someone, you can kind of be like, oh, they did it, so I can do it too, no matter what their challenges and struggles were.
Alrighty, so now that we've seen a little bit about the exhibit and heard about kind of why it is so inspiring, I wanted to do share a little bit with you all about character traits. And now, if you've been studying changemakers, you probably have been thinking about and talking about different character traits or aspects of someone's personality that defines who they are and their attitudes and the actions that they take. Now, since this exhibit opened in November, I've been doing lots of virtual programs with students across our area, and I've met over 700 students. And in those classes, those virtual field trips, what we usually do is we start out with a brainstorm. And now in those groups, I only have about 30 students, but today with over 500 of you, it's going to be hard to do this live. But if you have access to the chat and you want to share a character trait that you think defines a change maker, or maybe a change maker you've studied, feel free to toss it right in the chat there. But if you don't have access to the chat, I wanted to share with you some of the words that the other students I've interacted with across our community have used to define change makers. Now you can see popping up here, we've got brave comes to the front, leaders, bold, confident, strong, caring. All of these change makers that we have in our exhibit, that we meet across our community, are embodying character traits, right? I'm seeing lots of notes coming into the chat. Bold and brave. Oh, I just saw determination. Exactly. Honesty. Moxie, never gives up. These are great character traits. Witty, confident. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share a link. So in your classes today, or the next time your whole group is together, you can create a brain cloud, a word cloud, right? And share what you think the character traits are of change makers, maybe in your community, in your classroom, or the historical features that you've studied. Oh man, the chat is so many great words: empowered, hard work, sacrifice, fearless. I can tell you have been studying your change makers. Bold, kind, fantastic. Respect, leaders, kind. So we now have heard from staff and visitors and other students what we think a change maker is. What I want to share with you next is how in our exhibit we define a change maker. All of those character traits we have had to boil down into 5 key character traits. The first character trait that we believe all change makers embody is that they maintain a clear vision, right? Someone who's focused, they have a purpose, and they set out to make those changes. The second key character trait is that change makers are patient yet persistent. This is a big one, and I saw some of you adding the word persistent in the chat, right? Kind of that stick with it attitude, even though there's challenges or criticism or barriers. Change makers know that sometimes the changes they want to make take a long time, and it happens really slowly. The third key character trait we use here at the museum to define a change maker is that they ask tough questions, right? They're curious, they're bold, they don't back down. The fourth key character trait is that change makers are knowledgeable and they lead by example. All of the women featured in our exhibit, all of the change makers you have studied, right? They all have different knowledge and experiences that help define who they are and that they bring into their work, right? We all have different skills and talents that make us unique. The fifth key character trait, and maybe one of the most important, is that change makers don't work by themselves, right? They build strong relationships, they bring communities together, and they build those relationships through trust. They work as teams. Now, the exhibit we have here focuses on all women, right? There's over 200 women, but I want to remind everybody on the call this morning is that even though our exhibit only features women, there's a specific reason for that, and we'll get to that in a minute. No matter our gender or how we identify, we can all be change makers. Let's meet some of the change makers and hear in their own words what they think it means to be a change maker. Now, this video is about like 8-ish minutes long. So Dr. Rio, if we want to like skip through it, just give me a shout. And I can easily do that. But I think it's going to be really cool to see some of the contemporary change makers who are featured in the exhibit and who live right here in our community. Get this going here.
Hi friends, this is Reverend Myra Brown. A change maker is someone who understands that they are the change that they've been looking for. So when the opportunity arrives for you to show up, you allow yourself to be led in that moment, knowing that every moment in this life is an opportunity to do good, to find one's voice, to speak truth to power, to end oppressive systems, and to work towards the vision that you've been given. Now that is a world that I want to live in. Blessings to you.
A change maker is someone who doesn't simply take the path less traveled, but sees a small gap in the woods and wonders, wouldn't it make a better path? And goes into the woods to see.
A change maker is someone who influences the trajectory for others. Un hacedor de cambio es alguien que influye en la trayectoria de otros. I never set out to be a change maker, but if by sharing and advocating from my own experiences could influence someone else's path forward, then you can say, I am a change maker. In 1993, I said, presente.
It is Gandhi who said, be the change you wish to see in the world. To me, a change maker is someone who embodies that quote, not because of ego, but because the desire to change, to help others, and to give back is much bigger than self.
A change maker can be anyone of any age who's willing to take on the status quo and stand up and create a better reality. A change maker is also someone who has a vision, who has determination, daringness, and creativity to bring about a new way of operating, hopefully a more just way.
A change maker is an idealist and a risk taker who pursues an unexplored path, who is not defeated by failure and who never gives up. Tenacity and passion are the notable hallmarks of such a person. A change maker works with a team of people, empowering them and inspiring them while driving change.
As a Haudenosaunee woman, to me, an Indigenous woman change maker is someone who is breaking patterns of colonization and traumas that have impacted our people throughout the generations, while simultaneously carrying our culture and traditions on the forefront of her work. As Haudenosaunee women, we are telling our own narratives given to us from our ancestors and present themselves in the forms of our culture, our language, our music, our arts, and the celebration of our people. And this all shows our resilience of who we are.
A coat of many colors, a woman of many names. Daughter of Gibson and Geneva Sturgis of Crystal Springs, Mississippi. Sister, a woman of faith. Mom, Dr. B, Dr. Ruby. Breast cancer imaging specialist, a change maker. Trade, learned, limited, and finite, what you do. Gift, God-given, infinite, and free. A change maker is someone who has intuitively and innately figured out the difference between the two, but also how to balance those two and keep them in harmony to benefit others and not yourself. A change maker is one who is good to others and always remains true to themselves. God bless you, God keep you, and may He be with you.
Hello, my beautiful people. Annette Ramos here. A game changer is a woman who knows what she needs to do to get the job done, who supports other women while they struggle to reach their goals, who reaches her goals and then puts a hand out to help other women reach theirs. Be the change maker in a woman's life today.
A change maker is someone who is committed to making a difference in the lives of others. Someone who is a servant leader that collaborates with others to solve problems. And someone who truly wants to work to create a better world and community for all.
A change maker is someone who isn't afraid to voice her opinion and isn't afraid to advocate for others, even though this might make her unpopular.
My warmest greetings. A change maker is one who dreams and visions, and then, gently yet firmly, paves the pathway towards it.
A change maker is someone who uses their voice, their being, as a platform to advocate for others, to break down barriers and to promote change. A change maker creates opportunities for all people, regardless of race, color, creed, or gender. While being true to themselves, a change maker works to improve the lives of others. We all can be change makers.
A change maker is someone who can navigate difference, meaning that they are open to being transformed by alternative cultures, languages, and life worlds. A change maker is someone who can dream beyond the limits of dominant powers and profits. They can envision and create beauty and justice for all of us.
Changemaker is a person that is changing life of others by encourage and empower them to be able to speak up other struggles, by encourage them to believe in themselves, to have faith in what they are doing, to lift up their self-esteem, by encourage them to never give up on what they are doing, that there's always another possibility, that there's always another way of how to do things. And what change makers are doing is exactly that, to encourage you to never give up.
A change maker is someone that creates change in music, art, and fashion. What I do is art, music, and fashion, and I change people by creating trends, creating film, creating music, and that change is what I do. Change is a good thing.
A change maker aspires for more. They're a go-getter and a go-giver because they get to give, to pay forward to the communities that they serve. We are better because of change makers, because they make a difference.
According to me, a change maker is someone who's crazy enough to believe that they can make a change. It should happen in one's mind first, and the universe will pay way to it. My spiritual guru always says, not doing what you cannot do is okay, but it's a crime not to do what you can do.
Hi, I'm honored to be part of the Changemaker. Over 200 women who have made history in Rochester and surrounding area. People like Heather Douglas and Susan B. Anthony, who has played the role for me to continue advocacy in the LGBTQ community. I'm hoping that my kids will be inspired to make the change and be an advocate.
Changemaker. Well, the first thing I think of is someone who builds bridges to help us connect back to that path of creating. And that's what we are. We're creators, to take us back to our ways of healing and all our old teachings. To me, that's a change maker.
Greetings, I am Mayor Lovely Warren, and I am proud to be a change maker because I understand that every citizen in the city of Rochester, no matter where they worship, where they live, or who they choose to love, deserves equal access to opportunities to help them live a richer, fuller life. That's why I continue to fight for safer, more vibrant neighborhoods, more jobs, and better educational opportunities for our children and future generations. I want to thank the Rochester Museum and Science Center for holding me in such high regard, and congratulations to all of my fellow changemakers. I am honored to stand alongside you, creating change for the betterment of Rochester's residents.
Changemaker is somebody who can reach out beyond their own community and seek to teach people about others or things or entertain people and hopefully teach them a little something in the process. And that's what I've always wanted to do, both professionally and also as a volunteer.
Bienvenidos, welcome. My name is Nidia Padilla Rodriguez. I'm the founder and director of Borinquen Dance Theater, the first Puerto Rican young professional dance group in upstate New York, celebrating 40 years, November 6, 2021. I honor my ancestors. I am so proud and honored to be among so many distinguished women who have broken down barriers to open the doors for women of all colors to dream, to believe, to achieve, and to conquer the world. Sí se puede. Yes, you can.
A change maker is a person.
All right. Thank you guys for sticking in it and listening to those change makers. I think it's really exciting to hear from the change makers themselves and to see the diverse group of women that are featured in the exhibit, in the stories that they have to tell. On your screen now, and I know this is going to go really quick because this is going to be our brief history lesson for the day, and we're going to probably condense, 200 years into maybe 2 minutes. But I wanted you all to take a look at this picture, and this is a life-size picture right in our exhibit. And look at maybe this shadowy figure here. And as I'm explaining, think about why our exhibit team would leave a figure out. Who is missing from this image? This picture sets the background for why the museum decided to open an exhibit all about change makers and women in 2020, right? 2020 was a very significant year. A lot of change happened, but it was important for a couple reasons. First, it was the bicentennial or the 200-year anniversary of Susan B. Anthony's birthday. Secondly, 2020 was the centennial celebration or the 100-year anniversary of the passing of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote in the United States. Prior to the ratification of the 19th Amendment, there were many women, like the ones you see here, who were active in making the change that would allow women the right to vote. And some of these women were so inspired, they decided to form what we now know is the women's suffrage movement. These women were inspired by the indigenous peoples, the Haudenosaunee, and their matrilineal society, right? If you remember studying the Haudenosaunee, Jigonsase, the mother of 5 nations, brought together the warring tribes and founded what is now, still to this day, the longest lasting democracy in the world. Moving forward 200 plus years, it's now 1848. And this woman right here, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, decided that she wanted to bring a group of women together and to talk about why women didn't have the right to vote in the United States and to start a movement to make that change happen. After the Seneca Falls Convention, Elizabeth Cady Stanton meets Susan B. Anthony, right? I'm sure you have studied her or heard about her. She's probably one of Rochester's most famous change makers, and her story and that of her family as abolitionists fighting to end slavery in our country and fighting for equal rights for women is very well known. These two were friends and they worked together for over 50 years, working to see women get the right to vote. Now, also in the 1800s, another major change was happening, right? The Civil War in the 1860s, we also saw other change makers emerge. This woman here, Sojourner Truth, who was born into slavery here in New York and who took her freedom, eventually began working for the Union and recruiting men to help fight for the cause. Another change maker, historical change maker that was active during the Civil War, the 1860s, was Harriet Tubman, who, as you may know, was an abolitionist, a political activist, and who took many risks over 13 missions, returning to the slave states to help her friends and family take their freedom.
So Allison, we do have to wrap up in a minute here. I know that you could continue going on, and this has been so fantastic for our kids, but we do have to wrap up. So I don't know if you have any final thoughts that you want to share. I have been getting some questions too about like how long this exhibit is open and visiting the Science Museum.
This is my last little snippet, and what I want to set the stage for is how we can take the work that these women did in the 1840s, the 1860s, and think about the changes that are still needed in our society today. It's 2021. And believe it or not, men and women still do not have the same rights under the law in the United States. This we see a lot in the workforce, right? Gender pay gaps, all of that. So as you leave here today, I want you to think how you can be inspired by these change makers, learn from our history, and take that change and make an impact in your community. I want to thank you all for letting me present today and sharing some stories with you. We could talk about this for hours, but I know you guys have to hop off and have a full day planned. If you have questions, I can take some now if you want, or if you want, I can send my email out to teachers and students. You can connect with me that way, whatever works best for you.
That sounds so fantastic. I think we're going to hold on questions, but I love your idea of sharing your email with teachers, and I'm happy to do that because I have that as well.
Sure. Yeah,
I'd love to share this too with teachers, and we're recording so we can continue to share this with anyone who wasn't able to be here today, listening to our presentation. But you have been wonderful. This has been such a great connection to the work that we've been doing at French Road. And I know that I love what you shared, and I know our kids are going to find some great connections to it as well. How long can they visit the exhibit for?
Our exhibit is open through the middle of May. I've heard some rumblings. It might stick around longer, but for right now, just through the spring. But if you have families or students who want to come and see, give me a shout and we can make it happen.
Awesome. Thank you. I know I'm going to go check it out with my kids too. So French Road friends, in case you missed the very beginning and you came in late, we did raise $1,700, over $1,700 for food things. So tomorrow and Friday, when you come into the building or on your remote work, you can wear your PJs and get ready for a dance party. So we look forward to that. And today you're going to continue your work around being a change maker by creating posters to share with your community and neighbors and friends, and your teachers have shared more about that. But just remember a quote that I want to end with today from Margaret Mead: never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. And that is all of you. So thanks for being here with us today. And I appreciate you again, Allison, and have a great day, everyone. Bye.